There has been a recent and massive shift in the gold market as of late. When I found out about this, I was blown away. I'm going to explain what is occurring and why we should pay attention to what's going to be happening to the gold price as a result. Let's talk about it as we explore. We all know about the major shift that has been occurring since about 2022 in the gold market en masse in general, with central banks continuing to buy. Even now, here in 2025, they are continuing to accumulate gold and at a record pace, and they're not selling for the most part. There has been some slight exceptions to that, and I've covered some of that in this broadcast on this channel. Notwithstanding, there has been another shift that is occurring now as opposed to what's going on globally with geopolitics and the like, of a different kind of buying that's going on. Central banks, we know, are gobbling up gold like there's no tomorrow. And we saw that one media outlet says that a major bank sees gold climbing up to $3,500 an ounce on central bank and China buying. Now, China is also buying in three different ways, not only in terms of increasing their coffers at their central bank, but also adding gold to their sovereign wealth fund, something that we're going to be creating within a year here in the United States of America. Now, we know that there's been an influx of gold that has come in from the London bullion market. We've talked about that before ad nauseum. Now, that's not what I'm talking about here. But the third tier of Chinese buying is individuals buying gold a lot. And even the small little 1 gram or 3 gram beads that they see that they add for jewelry, that's been occurring too. We know about that. Higher prices are still possible, but central banks tend to trend following, and we see that as the case. And so could this be near the end of that for the central banks buying? I don't know. And that's maybe a subject for another video. But what I can tell you, though, from anecdotal experience talking to two different bullion dealers, is that there are some big buyers out there interacting with bullion dealers that you and I know and love and do business with. One of them is Summit Metals, who's a channel sponsor. They have been seeing an uptick in interest in gold, and that's with the price reaching an all-time high. And this really goes back into what we see normally happening here. Usually when the price goes up, people want to get in on the action. Fear of missing out for what could be a higher price, as many of these big institutions, some of these big banks are calling for higher gold prices now, readjusting their forecast for a third time now. And so people are wanting to get in and buy. And of course, you can get in and buy on this action as well, too. However, I think you should be very cautious in your approach to buying gold, especially considering its all-time high. And at any moment, we could be at the top of that high. So you have to weigh those decisions for yourself. I myself am buying a little bit less this year, but I still am buying. I'm dollar cost averaging. I think that's a good approach to buying. And I just made a purchase recently to add to this. This is Summit Metals has these really cool wallets. They're the only bullion dealer that has a convenient way to carry 1 gram size gold bars like this. And they also have these for the quarter ounce size coins, 10th ounce size, and also half ounce size as well. But I wanted to fill this thing up with 12 grams of gold as a convenient way that I could put this in my wallet. It's actually made of metal. It's a really cool, solid piece here with the Summit Metals logo on it. So check that out if you get a chance on the website at summitmetals.com. But this is a great way to be able to add a little bit of gold to your portfolio without taking too much risk, because the premiums, though they're higher for the 1 gram bar size, because of the price, they've actually come down some. But gold in a 1 ounce size, it's tough for most of us to do, to make a purchase in a 1 ounce coin. But there's another dealer, and I'm seeing also a talk and that is happening from other dealers as well too, that say there are big whales coming into the market buying a lot of gold at once. It's crazy. And so there's some big investors out there making purchases of gold right now. And I think I'm going to use that term, investors, because they're seeing what's coming down the pike and they want to get ahead of it. And could that be as a result of what's going on with people taking profits off of the crypto space and moving in? Or are these millionaires and maybe even billionaires deciding, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to buy some gold now because I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow? None of us really do. There's a lot of different things that are going on. Most feel that we're going to see a recession coming on, that we can see a revaluation. There's fear of these tariffs that are imminent, and other areas in different ways that could reasons why people would accumulate gold in such measure. One thing we know for sure, and this is indisputable, is that our currency, the dollar, is losing value at a rate of about 3% now, a little under that right now, year over year. That's inflation. And it's inflation until it reaches the target, and that target is 2%. But 2% is still inflation, although most don't see that as such the case, and that's how we measure it now. We used to have a much more stringent criteria to measure inflation, and it means that really it's higher than what they say it is, especially when you measure all the different things that we buy every day at the grocery store and the like. Real estate, autos, they're about to go up as well too for foreign makers, but there's all kinds of different things going on. A lot of uncertainty out there, no matter what your viewpoint is. There's going to be some changes taking place. There's going to be a detox period, as the Secretary of Treasury, Scott Bessent, says, and a potential recession could come our way. And so I think that is the impetus for some of these big whales making these purchases from bullion dealers we know. And so that is the dramatic shift, I think, which is in some way a little bit surprising. It's big news because that means that as more buying is going on, more likely that means premiums very well could also increase from some of these bullion dealers that are seeing these big buyers come into play. I think it's a good idea for even the most stringent silver stacker out there to take part in the gold market, at least a little bit. Have a little bit of exposure to gold. I believe it's a good idea to diversify because it has been proven, and we've seen it. Anecdotally on this channel, we've talked about it, but others, and I think the data bears this out to be the truth, is that gold is the more stable store of value on a consistent basis, much more so than silver. That's why a lot of people are frustrated over silver. And I believe in silver. I accumulate it. But I understand more about how it can preserve your wealth. Gold, honestly, has been acting more like an investment these days, especially over the last 18 months. It's crazy. But that could all change too. I always prepare myself mentally whenever I buy another ounce of silver or even ounce of gold or even a gram of gold for the distinct possibility that we have seen just the top of that market and it's all downhill from here. That could happen at any moment for almost any reason, by the way. So whenever you make a purchase of your gold, understand that, or silver, or anything in life. Be prepared for what could be coming, and it may not be good for you in terms of your bottom line, in terms of the money you spend. But that can be remedied, and it shall be remedied, as has always been the case with precious metals, the longer you hold it. That's the advice I want to give you here now with gold as we look at what's coming up here in 2025 and 2026. Now, there's a part of me that is a collector as well, and so I welcome lower gold prices for that reason, because there's some series and sets that I want to put together. But, I also stack too, and I would like to see lower prices to make a purchase because I know I have full confidence that they are wealth preservation devices, both gold and, yes, even silver. I'm going to say it. And so that is happening. And I think to some extent, if these whales are out there making these massive purchases of a whole tube of eagles or Britannias or buffaloes or whatever else, or even a couple of tubes, or maybe even a monster box, that they know something too. And they're willing to put their money on the line and a whole lot of it at one time, which is risky. That is making a purchase of gold as an investment as opposed to just hedging, in my view. But for most of us, we can't do that anyway. I like to purchase as a hedge against economic instability, as a way to preserve your wealth, and maybe even more important than ever, and it's a theme I've been covering a lot here in the past year on this channel, is recognizing and understanding that gold is a savings vehicle outside of any system from which we find ourselves apart. In fact, the only system and the only organization that gold plays a role in is central banks holding it. Say for our central bank, we hold no gold at our central bank, only certificates that represent gold. That is held by the Treasury in Fort Knox. And by the way, what's the deal with that? When will we see an audit of Fort Knox, or at least a tour from Elon Musk and Donald Trump? It's been crickets. So we'll see what happens there. But nonetheless, what we know for sure is that there's a lot more buying that's going on right now. And I think it's a good thing in one aspect. Also, it's a bad thing because it's risky. Because these big whales, they don't know what the gold price is going to do tomorrow either. They don't know what a kind of thing that could come by and just completely crash the gold market. Yeah, there I said it. It is possible that could happen. We have to weigh that possibility. We have to act accordingly. And I think acting accordingly is just holding on to your gold, no matter what. I think that's really the end game here. Now, obviously, there are exceptions to that. If you want to sell now at the high price and you've made $1,000 on having a gold bar in your possession, by all means, sell it and use those profits to better your financial situation or an emergency. I had a viewer of mine mentioned that they sold off a half an ounce of gold to pay for medical expenses, and God bless them. It was there. That's what it's there for. Now, ideally, it'd be nice to have some cash on hand, so that as a buffer, so you don't have to liquidate your gold at such a time. But hey, if you're going to pick a time to do it, it's good now when gold just keeps on moving up even higher. So there you have it. I like to bring you the latest news and insights in the world of precious metals. So if you enjoy what I do here, I hope you will consider pressing that thumbs up button down below. Helps the algorithm. And subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. I post daily videos with a lot of news and analysis. So I hope you will consider subscribing. I'm trying to reach 100,000 subscribers by the end of this calendar year. So there you have it. And with that, I'd like to extend a multitude of gratitude to each and every one of you for taking the time to watch this video, and to encourage you to please rate, share, comment, and subscribe.